Hello, welcome to What's Working Now. I am your host, Katie Richardson. We have a special episode today. If you can't tell, if you're not watching the video, I'm on my back deck overlooking the ocean here in Palmas, Puerto Rico, and I have an incredible guest. This guest that we have today is an expert on YouTube. If you have been watching people on YouTube feeling like maybe you missed your chance, guess what? You didn't. There's still an opportunity, and today's guest is going to show us how you can make what's working now on YouTube effective for you inside of your business, inside of your life. Now, today's expert, Jeremy Johnston, has over 3.5 billion views on YouTube. He has over 3 million subscribers. What is his show? It's called Jhouse Vlogs. 8 years ago, he and his 5 beautiful children and his wife made a decision. We're going to do a family vlog. And it's going to be on YouTube, and we are going to document our family's journey. That was the decision he made 8 years ago as an attorney, by the way, and started this blog, then left your work in law, and have now full-time been doing YouTube. Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'm super excited, and give us that update. How long into this YouTube journey did you even start to make that decision? This is full-time.
Well, it's interesting. The first year, we were posting videos every day. We did that for 9 months, which was very taxing. I mean, I remember being up till 2 or 3 a.m. finishing the edit because we didn't have anyone working for us. It was just this side thing we were doing.
Yeah.
But we were committed to sticking with it. We went from 7 days a week down to 6 days a week. And at the end of the first year, I don't think we had even made $1 off of YouTube. It was nothing.
Give me a sense, was Kendra and the kids, were they all on board? We're going to go all in and this is going to be hard at first? Or was it just kind of let's just kind of test this out? 6 or 7 videos a week, that's a huge commitment.
So when I first saw family vlogging, the very first day I found a family vlog. Yeah. I went and I researched it and I was like, wow, there are a ton of these.
Yes.
And for some reason, millions of people are watching it.
Right.
And then my next thought was we should do this, we should do this. And I went to Kendra and told her, and she wasn't interested at all. If you know Kendra and I more personally, I'm very open about sharing anything. And Kendra is more private, you know? And so she had all kinds of legitimate concerns, like privacy, putting our kids on the camera, what are we doing? Are we trying to become famous on camera? We have nothing to add to what's going on the noise of the internet. Those were all legitimate concerns that she was raising.
Yeah.
And so I was a little bit bummed, but not entirely deterred. And I kept researching and really looking at the ingredients of what is it that makes family vlogging work? Why are people watching? So I became a fan of favorite families that we were watching and paying attention, learning. And I would keep coming back to Kendra a little bit at a time. Yeah. And that first time I came to her was April 2nd, 2014. And I think it was around August when she finally, I came to her, I was just like, I really think you should pray about it. I think this is something to do. I think this is going to change our whole family life. The dreams that you have of traveling the world or, I think that this is something that can make all that possible. And so she prayed about it. And that made all the difference. She wasn't excited, wasn't interested in it, but she felt really compelled. This was a really powerful thing we should be doing in our life.
Okay.
And so I think without that piece, there's no way we would have lasted that year. And we definitely would have lasted the 8 years of what kind of commitment and effort that it takes to be so consistent with something.
Yeah. Okay. So there's so many things to call out just from that little snippet of your experience. You did some research.
Yeah.
Felt compelled to do it. Gave her an invitation to pray about it and for her to feel compelled as well. And it sounds like you knew it was going to take consistency and this high level of commitment and that it would be a long time before you would potentially see any results.
It was really important for me to be able to stick with it, that I not only was watching those family vlogs that were huge.
Yeah.
That was good because I was able to have an end result to look to and say, wow, we could someday quit our jobs. We could someday do this as a full-time thing.
Yeah.
So I was looking to some of those family vlogs.
Okay.
But then I was also more closely watching those who had just grown to 5,000 subscribers this year.
Oh, okay.
Because then I had reasonable expectations. And so the slow start didn't discourage me. I was knowing, you know, by the end of this first year, if we're able to get to 5,000 subscribers, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't as discouraged with that slower start. It was what I expected.
Okay, and with the 6 to 7 videos a week, which still that's blowing my mind, Jeremy. Like that is so much content.
Yeah.
Did you have like 2 or 3 core videos that you were creating, and then you would break those up into more, or were you starting from scratch? Like, okay, here's the theme for today's video.
Yeah, there was zero repurposing.
Wow.
It was all original content, and even more than that, we didn't have a script because it's reality TV.
Okay.
And so unlike coming up with an idea, you can't batch film this and create it.
Yeah.
Really what we would do is we would say, well, what are we doing in our life?
Okay.
And what do we think would be interesting to film of that?
Okay.
And we would try not to overfilm. So there was a lot of learning in that first year.
Sure.
You know, hey, let's capture just about 40 minutes.
Okay.
And early on, a strategy that I had was let's make our videos a little bit shorter, because if people are watching other family vloggers, and those videos were normally about 10 to 12 minutes.
Okay.
In trying to break into that routine, I was like, let's start with making 5 to 6 minute videos. So it's a little bit shorter. It was a little bit less taxing on us. We could be consistent and still share those nuggets of goodness that were happening each day. And at the time, we had 4 little kids. I go back and watch some of these. In 2014, Isaac, our oldest, was probably only 7 or 8, and we had 4 little kids. And so there was a lot of nuggets of goodness just in the magic of life that was going on. We also started homeschooling the same day we started vlogging. So that was all together.
So the concept behind all of this, it wasn't high production. It literally was a family vlog where you were trying to capture daily life activities, and that probably meant people's frustration, emotions, feelings about certain things. And so it sounds like you were trying to live your life as it was and then capture whatever might be interesting to capture 5 or 6 minutes of that and throw it up onto YouTube. I mean, immediately as a mother of 4 myself, I imagine that you it would start to feel intrusive that you're all of a sudden videoing everything. What were kind of some of the emotional dynamics that would happen behind the scenes as you were making the camera and the video a really big part of your family life?
I mean, there is a reality that you can't share everything.
Yeah.
And so we had to understand those limits. And sometimes there were several times where I wanted to overshare, and Kendra was like, no, I don't think we should share this, or I don't think we should go there. I think we should keep this private. And the truth was she really protected us, because later YouTube really came down hard with community guideline strikes and issues with families where they were sharing things that maybe were inappropriate or more what they felt were exploiting of the kids, or you know, because there are a lot of dynamics there where you're working with these little kids and you want to be respectful of them. And it was easy as the businessman to be thinking about what's going to be the most interesting video, where Kendra was thinking about the children and what's best for the family. And that's really important to have that balance.
It sounds like the perfect dynamic.
Well, it's perfect. But
it can create tension in the marriage.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there came a point where the amount of time and effort that it was taking really began to strain on our marriage. And we were losing a lot of the connection that we should have had in our relationship. And we went through marriage counseling during the vlog, and we shared that with people. It's like, hey, marriage is hard, and we're struggling, and we're going to counseling right now. And really, if I were to talk about right now, some of the biggest things that are helping us gain a passion again about what we're doing and be excited and really start growing instead of dying. Because the truth is that we went so in that it hurt our relationship to the point that our channel really began to suffer, and we started neglecting it. You know, we eventually went from doing 6 days a week down to 4, down to 2, down to 1 day a week. And so in a month, we weren't posting 30 videos, we were posting 4. I mean, that's a huge change over time. And the main reason was that Kendra and I were disconnected, and we were struggling. And so we've continued doing therapy and, you know, learning together and trying to rebuild that connection. And we've worked really hard on it, and we are feeling more connected than ever right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're both excited to more carefully begin building again and growing again and leaning in, because you can become complacent. You can become just kind of taking for granted how neat it was of what we had built. And so now we're at that point again of saying, hey, let's reinvest. Let's come in together. What do we want it to be?
Yeah.
Let's pivot.
Yes.
And that's where we are now.
Okay, which is why you're here today, because YouTube is a platform that has shifted a lot over the years, and I bet especially over the last 8 years, as you have been an expert utilizing this platform. And you and I are personal friends, and we were having conversations, you know, not in front of a camera, and I was like, this is why I wanted you to come on, because you have been trying and testing some new things and different strategies, and you are seeing what's working now on YouTube. So share with everybody what you are doing, because you have long form content. Yeah. And even though you have over 1 million subscribers, you still have to follow certain principles to continue to grow those subscribers and get your views. So what are the things that you've tested, and what is working right now?
Well, in December, we had the biggest amount of growth that we've had in a really long time in subscribers and views. It was substantially bigger. And the biggest difference was that we posted a lot of quality and strategically chosen shorts.
Okay.
That really was the difference.
Shorts. Shorts were actually growing your channel, not just views, subscribers.
Yeah, exactly. We grew because of the shorts. And I want to talk about, though, how we were very resistant to shorts.
Okay.
I mean,
you'd been talking about it for a while.
I know. So TikTok was something that everyone was trying during the pandemic, during the lockdown time. Yeah. And we did as well. We started a TikTok account. We were having a lot of fun. This was kind of our introduction to doing short content, having fun with it. And then our channel was deleted. And at that time, because we were featuring a lot of stuff with our kids, TikTok just deleted it. Wow. And at that time, there was no way to appeal it. Wow. And I was just kind of bitter and frustrated, because you build an audience somewhere, and we had things going really well. And I was just like, and that kind of turned me off to shorts.
Sure.
And I also felt like it might just be another fad.
Yeah.
You know, so there was a time where YouTube was in competition against Twitch on live streaming. And it was like, who's going to be the live streaming? And so YouTube, anytime they were communicating with us as creators, like, you have to live stream. And I was like, we edit videos. Yeah. Like, our videos are edited so that it's the best versions coming forward. If we do a live stream, I don't see that performing well. Yeah, it's not and so I never really bought into the live streams. Okay. And I'm glad I didn't, because it was a phase of them pushing it that kind of came and then went. And honestly, when shorts was coming in, YouTube began saying, you know, like, you got to be doing shorts. You know, this is the most important thing.
And you're highlighting something right here, which is during different seasons, different times, YouTube favors certain things. And they will promote and push that thing. Yeah. So that at that time, that's what they were promoting.
Yeah, you know, and so as TikTok surprised everyone and just took off, YouTube responded, and they made their version of what TikTok is, you know, YouTube Shorts. Yeah. And one of the things that I think made TikTok so alluring, why everyone was jumping on, was it wasn't only fun and different and exciting, but there was the ability for anybody to grow a lot.
Really fast.
Exactly.
And that's what every expert I've talked to when it comes to driving traffic, they were all like, you have to be doing TikTok. It has the most incredible algorithm. Yeah. And you can grow your channel very fast.
Yeah. And, you know, there came a point, I remember before we jumped into family vlogging, where everyone had a blog. You know what I mean? And it was like, but there eventually comes a point where it's like, am I too late to the blog game? Sure. Yeah. And then, you know, we did the vlog, and there was a whole wave of people who did vlogs. Vlogs were very popular. It was a thing, you know, and different things come and go. And right now we are in that shorts era, and I ignored it. And what really began to change everything for me, and this is kind of funny and sad, I accidentally posted a short on Jhouse Vlogs.
Oh my word.
And we had.
How do you accidentally?
I know. I have to explain it because.
How do you accidentally?
So we did decide to do.
Is that the story you're telling Kendra? Or that?
No, yeah.
I'm just teasing.
I know exactly. It was an accident. I don't know why we're in counseling. So I had created a Jhouse Shorts channel. Okay. And we were just repurposing, like not making anything new, but just repurposing old content and putting it up there. And that wasn't performing well because it didn't have a big audience.
Yeah.
And a lot of YouTubers were trying that.
Okay.
But one of the shorts that I was about to post, I had videoed Janae while she was playing soccer at a soccer practice. And it was this adorable. Janae is my little 5-year-old.
And she is adorable.
She's just really cute.
I mean, all your kids are absolutely adorable, but
so I filmed this little moment
she's
of
at
her.
that age.
And I put upload thinking that it was going to the Jhouse Shorts.
Oh,
because I was like experimenting and just testing them. And I was like, no big deal.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the next day, or I don't remember when I realized, but it was performing really well.
Okay.
And I was surprised. And eventually it was performing better than my long form videos.
Wow.
And so I did a little bit more experimenting.
Okay.
But even then, I was still only doing maybe 1 to 3 a month. And I did this for maybe 4 months, where I was just like, I was tentative. And I even went to a YouTube conference hosted by YouTube where they invited a bunch of creators out.
Okay.
And I was saying, look, I'm nervous that if I post shorts, it's going to hurt my long form videos.
Yeah.
Because I kind of felt like that if I'm posting these shorts, it's going to hurt. And I had some comments from viewers like, hey, this isn't TikTok, or they didn't want it. You know, some people were kind of resistant to the change, as was I.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've realized, though, on that point is that there is a change. Like, think of how many shorts views have happened since 2020 to now.
Yeah.
And from 2018 to 2020, it was 0. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one was watching that. And then now it's like so big to where in the first quarter, YouTube announced that in a month they were getting 30 billion. No, in a day they were getting 30 billion YouTube Shorts views a day.
Oh my word.
So that's the thing is, yes, I am going to start getting less views on my long form.
Yeah.
Because there is a shift happening culturally in the industry of what consumers are doing. You know, that happened eventually where people were watching TV and then Netflix became a streaming thing. Like a shift, a wave was occurring.
Yeah.
I believe we're seeing that happening right now, where you can only ignore shorts as long as you want to miss that wave. Yeah. Because more and more views, more and more attention, more and more eyeballs are going into shorts. Yeah. And so finally in December, we jumped in.
And this, like, we're recording this like the first week of January right now, so 35 plus days ago, you said, okay, let's do this.
Let's really try.
Yes, let's really test it.
And we were creative. We had fun with it. Mm-hmm. We tried a bunch of different things, and we had an incredible growth. And it's exciting to see that difference. And we had incredible subscriber growth. Now, I don't think that it was just that we posted a lot. Okay. I think that volume is always part of the story. You know, if you post 10 times more shorts than I was in previous months, it's plausible to get 10 times the growth. But strategically choosing the shorts and how you structure the shorts is part of it.
Okay. Including things like what you're putting in the description and hashtags, like are there things like that as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, here's what I want to know. What are all of the things for somebody like me, for example? Yeah. You and I have been talking about this because I'm implementing the leaf strategy currently on my YouTube channel. I have hardly any viewers right now, which is totally fine and great. And I'm putting out long form content, and you've been talking to me saying, Katie, I think you need to be putting out shorts. Like, just repurpose your videos and put out shorts. So what is somebody like me? And here's what I want everyone who's listening to realize. Jeremy comes from the family vlogging world. It's a different audience. It is. And I am coaching, and I'm talking to entrepreneurs, CEOs, COOs, and so it's a different audience. But what we want to understand is the principles behind it, how it's working, and how we can begin applying it, how you can begin applying it right now. So what are some of the things that you've noticed is working?
And maybe just stepping back as a broader framework to, I love the leaf strategy. It's proven, and I'm friends with Nate. Yeah. And I remember going to conferences with him 8 years ago, you know, where we were both starting at the same time. Yeah. And he has found a formula that works where with the leaf strategy, you're answering questions in 8 to 10 minute videos that you're posting regularly to become an expert. Yes. You know, beyond the trunk and the branches and the leaves, I think the next evolution of that is the seeds, which, you know, a tree releases the seeds into the ground. That's where faster, bigger growth occurs. They're little bits of the tree that can just sprout all over.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the next evolution of that is take from those 8 to 10 minute videos.
Yeah.
And here's what I did. This is a principle that I think applies to anybody.
And to be clear, like it's not replacing, to your point, it's
No.
adding to it. It enhances it.
We didn't post less of our normal content. We continued with the normal content and added on the shorts.
Okay. More work. Who doesn't love more work?
Yes. So it's interesting though, what I did, we were posting original new content, but I did repurpose a short.
Okay.
And I went back through our last year and I found the video that was performing the best.
Okay.
Our highest performing video.
Okay.
And I said, how can we take this video and make it into a cool short? And that's what I did. You know, all the principles, all the concepts of that video, I made into a short, and it now, from posting it about 30 days ago, I don't remember the exact date, it's at 16 million views.
Oh my word.
That one short.
That's nuts.
So then what we did, when I saw that that worked, I made a whole other video that followed that same formula that was Christmas themed.
Okay.
And I posted 3 shorts, and one of those has 8 million views now, one has 4 million views, you know. And so it's the 80-20 principle.
Yeah,
like it's not, there is, when you're beginning, you are kind of just throwing spaghetti noodles against the wall and seeing what sticks. Like that is part of the beginning. But go and see what is having the most success on your channel already.
Yeah.
And then replicate that in short format. Either repurpose it or create similar content. And I think the reason that we grew so much in subscribers, because we grew like 66,000 subscribers in December, and we had been growing, I think in November we only had 11,000 subscribers.
Wow.
So we saw that huge growth.
Yeah.
But it's because the kind of shorts we were making were what our audience already had voted that they love. And I mean, you can go and see how videos are performing to see, you know, what's going to work.
Okay. And as you're uploading these shorts, and by the way, just technically, YouTube shorts, aren't they constrained to 60 seconds? They're not even 90 seconds.
Yeah, 60 seconds.
So you have to take a almost 10-minute video and pick out the highlights to equal 60 seconds. Are there things to also keep in mind that will help it to perform other than the content of that video? Are there things technically that you need to be doing in your thumbnail or in the description below? Are there things like that that would also help it?
So both TikTok, and here's the thing too, we are doing this on TikTok as well because they're very similar right now, and we're beginning to do more on Instagram Reels as well. I had kind of ignored Instagram for a long time, and Kendra, as she's coming back in, is starting to do more, you know, Reels and stories and a lot of the things on Instagram to grow over there. And so a lot of this is similar, and you can repurpose them in all these different places.
Okay.
But I mean, one of the biggest things is that each of the platforms want you using their tools.
Yes.
And so, for example, we did a really fun Christmas Jammas reveal. And this was just an idea. We had other people who had done similar reveals, but with this one, we had Kendra come walking into the room, and then it was the thing where she like jumps or does something, and then she twirled. Magically the jammas were on, you know, and then each of the kids, we went through the whole house, and each of the kids had a funny way where the jammas just came on.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I could have put my own music on top of it. Clearly, I was taking footage that we had and editing it in Adobe Premiere. You know, like I'm editing it in an editing software.
Okay.
But I took a song that I knew was on TikTok and I knew was on YouTube Shorts. I looked and checked. Like, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Just, I mean, you could pick a trending song or a trending whatever. But in this situation, I took a Christmas song that I knew was on both of those places.
Okay.
And then when I edited the video, I included all these sound effects that I wanted on our side, like magic happening and magical Christmas swooshes and things. But I took the music out. So when I was editing it, I edited the whole video to It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year.
Okay.
But then when I exported it to put on YouTube, I took out the music so that I would use YouTube's music. I used their tool.
Oh, holy cow.
Does that make sense?
I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah, so I took my edited video.
Okay.
And I edited it on, you know, my laptop.
Yeah.
And then I exported it to my phone.
Then you export it to your
And so the version on my phone doesn't have the music.
Okay.
And then when I'm going in to put it into the YouTube short, it's the most wonderful time of the year. I make sure that the timing is right.
Yes.
And so then it looks amazing, but I used the music. So then I'm not facing a copyright claim, because if I had just used my own music, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But I used YouTube's music, and I'm using their tool, and they like it when you use their tools. And you know, this is the thing on TikTok, like if you're using their green screen or you're using whatever it is trendy at the time, like that really does make a difference as well.
Yeah. Oh my word. That's so good. And how does this sort of thing also translate to Instagram? Are you guys using Instagram?
It's the same. I mean, we've done just a couple little things on Instagram. Kendra has come back in and she's like, I want to participate again. And so I'm not stepping on her toes, but just before she did that, I did post some, and it was the same thing where I literally took a video and Elise was dancing, removed the music from it, and then posted it with the music from Instagram.
Okay.
So it's just like we're using their music.
Okay. So, I mean, as we talk about this, what you're doing inside of your business, it grows in complexity. You're now posting to TikTok, you're posting to Instagram, you're posting YouTube Shorts, you're posting YouTube full content.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked earlier about how this was just kind of like a side thing, but you were doing it full time, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And then eventually you quit your job. This is now a full-time gig. And as you're on all of those platforms, I'm just curious, like business model, where does the revenue come from?
Yeah.
Because like, are you like, even with TikTok, are you ultimately trying to get those people to follow you on YouTube as well? Like, what's the overall business strategy?
We've bounced around on this. And the truth is that for us, we were very fortunate that we had crazy amount of views on YouTube.
Okay. Yes.
And again, that came from the obsession with audience retention. That was the main thing. And even from years ago, 4 or 5 years, 2014, 2015, 2016, when I started, I was watching every video and watching the graph of audience retention. Because paying attention to when people were leaving told me how to improve. And so becoming a constantly improving machine in the editing process and in the creation and knowing what to share, that's what allows YouTube to say, hey, we want to send more people your way. And when you start getting into the billions of views, the ad revenue was very substantial. That was always the biggest part for us. And we didn't want brand deals to be a bigger part of it. So we would say, look, we're only going to do on average 1 brand deal a month or less. We could do more. We had people reaching out every day.
For anybody who's listening, a brand deal is basically you have a whole video that's all themed that brand. And
so
sponsoring
we've done 11 promotions with Nintendo, and we've done like 5 with Hallmark, and we've done 8 with Lego. And so you enter these long-term partnerships with brands to promote their content within the video. And so we were just really picky. We put a high price on that and said we're only going to do very few of those because we didn't want that to be oversaturated to our audience. And it's harder to make that kind of content. It's not as natural typically. We would try to choose brands that were natural for us, like playing with Lego was an easy thing for our family to do and to make content about. But for us, ad revenue, AdSense was always our biggest driver, and that's very unusual, and that's not really replicatable with what you do. You know, it wouldn't be like, so, you know, if you're selling an online course or you're selling this, you know, you would be thinking about how can I use these strategies to get the free promotion? And again, nothing's free, but instead of paying for Facebook ads that may or may not work and can be really frustrating, how can I become an authority where my content is being recommended? And so people are discovering me in this way that could then lead to my online course, my coaching, or whatever.
Well, can we continue in this direction? Before we started recording this, I thought it'd be super cool for Jeremy to come in. And I am an expert online, and I haven't been actively growing my YouTube channel until just recently. And I am implementing the Leaf strategy, which is utilizing long tail searches that people are already looking for. They're using YouTube as a search engine to answer a very, very specific question that they're looking for. And so I can hop in front of those people, and as an expert, I can get down into the details of their questions and answer their questions in like 8 to 10 minutes. And so I'm releasing these videos now, and Jeremy has been saying, hey, you should be implementing shorts. And to your point, like as a course creator, because that is what I do. I sell both VIP coaching and then courses and programs. as a course creator, there's an opportunity for me to absolutely grow my audience, but ultimately I'm trying to find people who are ready and need my help. Like that's my ultimate goal, right?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily care a number of subscribers, but and one of the things I've noticed with me personally is if somebody can spend a little bit of time with me, whether that's on my podcast, whether that's hearing me on stage, whether that's in video or training and teaching inside of some other community, they really, like the right person can really get a sense of, oh my gosh, I can't get this place on my own and Katie could really help me. And they just need a little bit of time listening to me to get to that point. Yeah. And so this is why we are utilizing YouTube in this way. So as you think about that category, what are some opportunities that you see for me? And I'm using myself kind of as a placeholder for you, my audience, because I think there's a huge opportunity for you here. And so Jeremy's going to share some suggestions now on me. And then what I would love to do is like have Jeremy back on in 3 or 4 months after we've implemented
what
this.
happened.
Yes.
All right, so here's my thoughts. And the big disclaimer here is I am a family vlogger, and I know that. Yeah. And so these are recommendations for me. I'm looking to what is working, and I am paying attention. I love the YouTube industry. I love the culture. I love learning from those who are trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I've been watching. And the reason Nate Woodbury is so good to listen to is that his leaf strategy isn't a theory. It is a proven method that has worked time and time again.
Yes.
And so answering very specifically chosen search questions that people have and consistently posting 8 to 10 minute videos works.
Yes.
What I'm wanting to do, what I think though, is that if you do that and include what Alex Ramosi is doing, you could see it quadruple. That's the idea. And so let me tell you a little bit about Alex Ramosi. If you're not familiar, he came onto the scene as an entrepreneur, and like 2 years ago probably, he started a channel. And he has had just unprecedented growth and success. Yeah. And he's spoken about it, like, what exactly did I do? Mm-hmm. And for him, one of the big things that turned everything around, because he's very open and just sharing, like, his information. It's like his growth was pretty stagnant, and then out of nowhere it went like this. Yeah. Yeah. And he had a conversation, I think, with Grant Cardone. And what he'd said is he was like, hey, I'm posting 10 times more than you are, and so I'm getting 10 times the growth. And so Alex went from doing 7 posts a week to, I think it's 80. Oh my 80 word. Posts a week. And again, that's repurposed stuff. Do you know what I mean? And he had a team, like he was hiring people to do it.
He does.
And so again, and that wasn't his primary allocation of time. I mean, he said he was only spending about 10% of his time on creation.
Cool.
So this is replicatable for you to do, and you don't have to hire people and spend the $20,000 a month for other people to do this. But it does require getting out the right content. And it isn't just the volume. It is also picking the right content that you have expertise in, that you can share, that is useful to the audience that you're speaking to, and it aligns with what it is you're ultimately wanting to give. Yeah. Now, one of the big mistakes that people make who are doing courses or coaching is that they're constantly trying to get people off of YouTube, and that hurts your growth on YouTube. Okay. YouTube wants people to stay on YouTube. Yeah. And so you have to scratch their back if you want your back scratched. You can't go for the link every single time to drive people away. That's going to hurt your authority on YouTube. Does that make sense?
So the call to action needs to be, I'll see you in the next video.
Exactly. And maybe even more specifically, it's like, I even have a video that answers this specific question. Click on the link here to the next YouTube video. Now, you will eventually have a video that is the one that goes to your course or goes to whatever. And I've heard people, Trina Little is a YouTuber that is in this space that I really respect. And she called it the firework method, where essentially you have all these videos. Say that you have 8 videos that all point to this one video. Okay. And that one video goes to your course. Okay. But all these other videos are sending people to the hub, you know? Yeah. And so you're driving people to more YouTube. This is another thing Alex said, and he was quoting Tony Robbins. So, I mean, there's people who do this stuff. Yeah. But I think it's really profound. Can your free content be better than what other people are charging for? Yeah. We're so afraid of giving away the secrets. Yes. When the reality is that even if people knew everything you had to say, maybe 1% would even use it.
Yeah, and we've been talking about Nate Woodbury. I mean, he like gives it all away on YouTube.
Yeah. And so, you know, your coaching is about implementation.
Yes, 100%. Like, there are my clients who know my information and still can't bridge that gap, and they specifically need my help applying it and implementing it, and that's where the magic happens.
And even in an online course, while it is information, really it's just about the distilling of the information to save me time or to help me be motivated to do it.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you can find the information from these books or these podcasts or on your channel.
Yeah.
And so I think it's feeling free. I have a really good friend who is experimenting right now with YouTube as well. And this was the big takeaway for him when he and I talked, was he was just like, I don't have to hide anything. Like, I can just freely share the goodness.
Yeah.
And if you can, in doing that, get enough content out that is reaching the audience that you want and giving them useful information, YouTube will continue to send more people that way. Now you're organically growing your audience without paying for them because you're being useful to them.
One of the things that you keep talking about is like tracking and looking at the data and seeing what's working, seeing what's not. That's something that a lot of people have mentioned to me is one of the benefits of YouTube is you do get so much data and information. You can watch a video and you can see where your views spike, which means people are maybe rewinding and going back to rewatch that section.
Yeah, you probably had a graphic that had all the information and then it wasn't up long enough, and so people are going back to it and it's like, whoa, what happened there?
Can you share a little bit of, one, how you, like, what data is most useful to track and follow, and two, how you can best utilize that data?
Yeah. So if you are doing long form content, you have to have a thumbnail. And so no matter how good what's inside is, if people don't want to buy it, like, the packaging matters.
Yeah.
And so the click-through rate is what represents how well your thumbnail is performing.
Okay.
So click-through rate, that's number one. And you want it to try to be 12, 13, 14% would be incredible.
Okay.
You know, I have videos though that are down at 5 and 6%. So that's not unusual. Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
But you want to know, well, where is my average? And then let's begin trying to improve it. Like, deliberately trying to say more people are going to click on my videos because I'm focusing on that. And I go back and I'm updating my thumbnails all the time. I even A/B test them. Okay. Like, I use TubeBuddy that has a tool where I can literally put two thumbnails side by side.
Okay.
And then it'll run a test where it allows both of them to run and then show me which one performed better.
My word, that's so good.
And so I'm doing that with old videos as well. Not only my new ones, but old ones. And then audience retention, I've already mentioned it. Really, that's measuring your ability to keep people in the story of the video. Okay. You know, and that's where people say, look, you got to have that hook. Really, they're just talking about audience retention. Like, are people captivated right at the beginning? Because most people on most content, our attention spans are so low right now.
Yeah.
So every audience retention chart goes from 100% down to like 70, 60, 50% in the first 30 seconds. Wow. A lot of the time. Wow. We try to be above 75% at that 30 seconds. And so one of the things we did is that most important nuggets of goodness are right there, you know? So a lot of times that the amount of energy and attention I give to the intro is very high. It's the last thing I do.
Okay.
You know, I'll edit a video and then it's like, okay, how can I help them see that the value's here? How can I let the viewer know that they want to stay and keep them in where there's something they're looking for?
So it's the first 30 seconds that you want to pack all of that in.
I mean, in a short, you have 3 seconds. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in a long video, you really only have about 4 to 7 seconds. But I'm just saying, the way I view it is I'm really putting more attention. I'll put more attention in the first 1 to 3 seconds than I do into the 5 to 7.
Okay.
And if your best thing is in the very end, you can just know that maybe only 20%, 10% of the people saw that. Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Or do you want it at the beginning? So even for us with family vlogging, I'll restructure our entire day to put the most important thing earlier, even though that's not the chronological order it happened.
Yeah.
And so that can be really hard when you typically follow a storyline where it's like, I want to build to a big ending.
Yeah.
What is good about a short is that it is only 60 seconds tops.
Yeah.
And you can have a hook that can lead people to the end.
Yeah.
And you have to have the payoff then of whatever the hook is. Otherwise, people get frustrated. And so you have that intriguing, whatever it is, whether it's a question or an amazing story. And so my friend, who I told you about before, who is now trying to implement more shorts and stuff with his business, you know, he has people that he helps, his clients.
Okay.
And so it's telling their story. You know, he helps people with his program. They can start making more money. And it's like this person was a struggling nurse, or this person, you know, they were just day to day into the rat race, and they yesterday got a check for $35,000 doing this. Like, that's a compelling story. He hadn't been telling those stories at all. It's like, tell the story of what's so exciting about what you're offering and the results of what it can do.
You keep bringing this up, hooks and stories.
Yeah.
What is kind of your overall outline for a video that you know is going to be great?
Yeah. So, and for me, with our audience, it is a little bit different. So I'm trying to process it and be like, I mean, well, something really amazing happened in our family, you know, or we have a big announcement. Like, we just revealed to our kids that we're going to Disney World.
Like, I think that word in itself, reveal, like that has to be a big one on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, well, again, a hook is saying there's something I want to see.
Yeah.
And then the payoff is you finally reveal the answer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you were to say at the beginning of a video, like, hey, are you stuck in the rat race with your job and wish you had a way where you can make $30,000 a month? And again, I mean, whether or not you can fulfill on that is a totally different question. But how many people out there are wanting to know how to make more money? There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so if you can actually answer that at the end, that's a reveal people want.
Okay.
And so, yeah, anytime you're doing a reveal. So with the Disney World reveal, what's really fun with that video is you'll know from the thumbnail of that video, like, we are going to be revealing Disney World. But the story of how we do it. So my intro would be showing the kids reacting, like, you know, and they're singing. So you know that there's something fun there.
Yeah.
But the story of how we did it is what keeps you going. That's you can't have the messy middle be boring.
Yeah.
Like, that middle part to get to the payoff, it's got to be good.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that means you're cutting out the unnecessary. You got to be generous in your cuts. And so the way we did reveal to our kids was we told them that we were filming a brand deal. So we had cameras all set up all around the room, and they were sitting there like, okay, well, Mom and I are going to go get it. Just watch this video. And it was one of our old vlogs from 6 years ago.
Okay.
When we revealed to them we were going to Disneyland for the first time. And so they're just watching our vlog, and they're sitting there watching. And then near the end of the video, we have all the cameras going, and they're not paying attention, you know, they're just watching the video. I have the video glitched, and I'm there, and I'm like, hey, kids. And we do the reveal right there. And they were like so surprised. They didn't see it coming, and the reaction is amazing. And so I think the payoff is going to be good.
Yeah.
You knew from the beginning kind of what you wanted to get, and then we made it interesting to get to that point.
So good, so good. Are there other things, formulas like a reveal that typically work really well on YouTube?
I mean,
Even in the family space.
anytime you gamify something.
Okay.
So
Make it a competition.
So things that work, that are entertaining.
Yeah.
I mean, most viral videos, it was because of an emotional reaction that people have.
Interesting.
Like, you are actually tapping into something that is emotionally impacting people, whether that they are laughing out loud.
Okay.
If you're willing to share this with someone, it impacted you some way emotionally.
Okay.
It was funny.
Okay.
It was touching.
Okay.
It was emotional, maybe sad. It, you know, got your brain going. So that is something to think about. And especially with people in this space where they're doing coaching or online, what I see a lot of people doing is that they're finally hiring someone else to batch film them once a week or once a month. You know, they do this batch filming, and then they are putting out a high volume of content, but the passion is gone.
Yeah.
The emotion is gone.
Yeah.
And so making sure that it is vulnerable sometimes,
Okay.
emotional,
Okay.
and you're thinking about how the audience would respond. There's another YouTube coach that I really admire. I'm trying to think. Film Booth is his channel, but he says that he'll actually decide before making the video, what would I hope the comments say about how this video impacted them.
I mean, as a product designer, that's where I start. What do I want somebody to feel when they use this product?
But if you are starting to just have somebody else write your scripts or somebody else, and again, even with Nate, you could do this where if the emotion isn't there, if the passion isn't there, if the vulnerability isn't there, if the humanness isn't there, because really, and I mean, obviously with family vlogging, this is a secret sauce, but I believe it applies in business too.
Totally.
The sharing of the human experience is always connecting. It's always powerful and impactful. And I think sometimes in the writing of scripts and in the mass production and in the outsourcing, we stop with the passion and the vulnerability and the magic.
I love this, that we're at this point, because, you know, I've been in entrepreneurship for almost 18 years now. Yeah. And like, I didn't know business, I didn't know sales, I knew product design, but I didn't even know manufacturing. I didn't know how to get myself into big distributors. But the thing that I did know, Jeremy, was people. Yeah. And like making that human connection. And I feel like today, now more than ever, with everything being digital and Zoom calls and Instagram and DMs, we've lost that human element. Yeah. And when we can bring that, the humanness to our email series, and like I talk to my team about this all the time, like, okay, this is our system, this is our funnel, this is our email series, this is the newsletter. How can we make this human? And so I love to hear that this is what's working on YouTube.
That's the secret sauce of a video, is really thinking about that and delivering. If you're delivering the human experience, that means it's relatable. That means it is funny. I mean, all comedy is the humor of truth. Yeah. You know, like that's what comedy is. Yeah. And if you're sharing the struggles, you actually are building more trust. And it is also about relationship. I mean, and again, for us as family vloggers, like, people feel like they're part of our family. Yeah. As an entrepreneur, you would want people to trust you where they feel like you're their friend. And if they're going to buy something from you, they must really trust you. Yeah. And trust comes from sharing the mistakes, sharing the vulnerability, sharing the fears as well. Yeah. And so it's not just about talking at people or just feeling like you're giving them the information. It's like, here's my experience, and here's the struggles, here's where I fell on my face, and here are the few victories that I've had.
Okay, so when you put a camera in front of you, a lot of time your ability to be real and honest and truly authentic and vulnerable kind of dissipates, because you have this long lens. It's very black and ominous, and it's pointed at you, and a lot of times we can lose that humanness. And I've done video for quite a while now, including I did a training for live video because I was selling my products on eVine. And something that they said there in that training that I think was super relevant, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, was like, Katie, don't talk to an audience. You're not talking to an audience. You have one very specific individual that you are speaking to. And like, I've done this myself in all my videos. I have clients who they'll shoot a video or an audio, and I'm like, who the heck are you even talking? Like, you sound like a robot. Yeah. And I tell them, like, pick a friend, somebody specific that you light up, that you love to talk to, and like re-record the same audio, but be speaking to that individual. Are there any things that you do? Like, do you have a very specific audience member, an individual that you guys talk about as a family, and you're like, you're talking to him, John, who's 7, or whatever it is? Yeah. Like, what is your advice to somebody who's trying to tap into that emotion, which naturally shows up when you're talking to another human, but you place that black lens in front of you, and all of a sudden it disappears? So who's that individual that you talk to in your videos?
This has been one of the weaknesses and beautiful things of Jhouse Vlogs, is that we never honed in on a specific audience. And part of that was because we wanted to be as broad as what The Cosby Show was, or Full House, where it's like a family can watch it together. People who want wholesome content together. Yeah. But I do actually have this, though, even with that being said. Yeah. And really the story of, I think the reason why we stuck with family vlogging, why I'm so passionate about it, goes back to when I was a kid. We had a family camera. When I was about 8 years old, it was coming out, you know? And I loved playing with it, loved making videos. And I remember us filming our 1993 Christmas celebration together as a family. Yeah. All of us opening the presents and all of that. My parents got divorced in 1994. And through those struggling years, I was 12, 13 years old, through those next several years, as a cathartic way to deal with the trauma of it all, I would watch the 1993 Christmas over and over and over again. This Christmas celebration that we had as a family, of when we were together, you know, when we had a family. And
I can feel the emotion now, Jeremy.
Well, so this is the thing, though.
Yeah.
I now make the 1993 Christmas for a lot of kids who don't have hope.
Wow.
You know, I'm saying family is something you can control someday, and you can have happiness someday, and it's not going to be perfect, and you're going to be in counseling, and you're going to be working through stuff. And so I actually keep on my monitor, we have, we get reached out to by a lot of people.
Okay.
And we get to hear their stories of how it impacted them. And I have pictures in our house and on my monitor when I'm editing. And the one I have right now is this family where the boy had cancer and he was going through chemotherapy. And during his whole time in the hospital, they watched Jhouse Vlogs the whole time.
Wow.
And so when I'm editing or when I'm frustrated about something, like, I just remember it's like I am trying to offer relief and fun and hope for people who are suffering. And again, I'm not doing education, I'm doing entertainment. Like, I really am trying to give hope and entertainment about family and about life. And so we have on our wall different images of these people in, you know, they don't have their hair and they're in the hospital. And it's like, it's not just about us. It's not just our family journal. It is about these people that we are touching as well.
Yeah. What's interesting is, now you got me all emotional. You tapped into your own personal emotion.
Yeah.
As that young boy. So you have that memory as well as the emotion of this young boy who was in the hospital going through chemo and struggling in his own life. So you have both of those pieces. What's interesting is, as I film my videos, I know my individuals. I know how much pain they're in.
Yeah.
I know how they shoulder so much responsibility, and that nobody else understands that complexity. So, like, I definitely am doing that piece, and I think what I could also bring to it is my own personal experience when I was in that position. And I'm still an entrepreneur too today, and a CEO. And so, like, I think bringing that own personal experience to my mind also could help with that emotional piece, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, if you're sharing about whatever it is, I mean, the overwhelm, and then you talk about the overwhelm you felt when the business first launched, or whatever it is, you know?
Yes.
But the thing is, too, is that it will automatically trigger more passion and more emotion from you, which makes you more trusted. It makes it more real. Do you know what I mean? And you can't fake it. Like, it's not a formula that's like, and then cry. You know, it's like, people, and this is the thing about YouTube that is scary and powerful. It's not about winning the algorithm. It's about connecting with people.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. And you aren't going to be good at it at first. Mm-hmm. And you have to respect that it's going to take you effort and time and bad videos to connect with your ability to have a conversation where you're feeling things and you're talking to a camera. Yeah. Because you're thinking of that person in the hospital chair. For in my situation, you know, it's like I am actually thinking about those people and those families, and I'm thinking of those individuals. Yeah. And for us, it is a little broken up because there's times we'll be talking about marriage counseling and I'll be thinking about those people who've reached out who are going through marriage struggles, you know. But I think that there's something there.
There definitely is. Like, as we've been talking about me and my channel and my videos, it's interesting. Like, if you go back and you watch or listen to all of my podcast episodes, it's the one where I do get really personal and I do tell those difficult moments. Yeah. Where my voice shakes, I start crying, there's pausing, there's tears. Like, it's all real. Yeah. And those episodes do get shared, to your point. And so bringing that personal, like, I'm having this huge realization. Yeah. Because I'm filming YouTube videos right now as we speak, and they're great, they're awesome. But I'm seeing an opportunity to, like, bring my own personal experience, because I definitely have him in mind, my client, my customer, and his pain and struggle. But I think I need to also pair it with my own personal experience, which in a way, like, I had, but the emotion wasn't there.
Yeah. Here's the other thing, though, too, that it will offer those stories are the best content.
They are.
Because they have a hook.
Yes.
I mean, like, so I am doing a little hobby channel right now that I just started this year. I have a Jeremy Johnston channel that I've neglected for 3 years.
Okay.
Like, I just never did anything on it. And the
Yeah.
truth is I would love to be sharing useful, informative information over there. It's not like a top priority, but I'm doing stuff. And my second video I posted out after I'd made a New Year's resolution and I was all excited, got age restricted, which means it was designated like only 18 plus, and it didn't perform, and I was so frustrated. Anyway, that story of like a video gets age restricted or whatever the story is, like it has a hook, it has intrigue, it has application, it has a payoff at the end, and it has the emotion and the passion with it. So tell your stories, you know, not just of you, but of the people you're helping too. And share the emotion of it. And if you can distill that down and then present it, like that's going to impact people.
I love this. I mean, I as we're talking about all of this, I have so many ideas in my mind. It's reinvigorating my passion and drive and desire and commitment to helping these individuals. And I can see, as you talked about, that individual who says, you know, has given himself permission to share everything on YouTube and how that's really set him free. I can see that there's an opportunity for me there. And I come from a world where you literally get copied. Like my products that I was manufacturing overseas, another manufacturer would get a hold of the CAD for my products
and just make it
and wipe out my logo and put his logo, and it was a patented, and like distributing them, like, so I've literally been copied. My designs have been copied, and I can tell, like, I have that fear of, if I put my best stuff out there, somebody's going to copy it. And at the same time, I also know that also they are not me at the end of the day. And like, really, when somebody is coming to work with me, they're coming to work with me.
It's a
not
relationship.
Just my information. Yes, it's a relationship.
And if you can view the content strategy with that lens as well. Like, I'm not just building a backlog of informative facts and stories. I am building a relationship.
Thank you. It's funny because, like, I remind myself of that over and over and over again. And yet, when I sit down and I look at the platforms that I'm utilizing, podcasting, so Spotify and Apple Podcasts and YouTube and Instagram, those are the platforms I'm most active on. And then I have a newsletter in email form. Like, as I think about all of those things, I can get caught in my marketing mind and like, okay, we're on this platform, utilize this strategy, and also in doing that, lose my humanness. And if you can, this is to myself, by the way, like, I'm reminding myself here, like, yes, utilize the tactics and strategies that work in my email marketing and on my YouTube channel and my Instagram, and bring Katie the human. And not contrived, not cue the tears, but it's like remembering, what do I want that viewer to experience and feel as they are watching this video. And if I can keep that in mind, then the natural story comes forward and that human emotion shows up, and that's where you make a connection. And it's funny because I learned this in person at trade shows in like 2010, 2011. That's where I first learned this. And I think it was one of the greatest assets to my business really early on, is I liked that human connection. And sometimes also generating that human connection when the other person is not in front of you is a little bit hard. And so I think what we've talked about today really addresses that at the end of the day, this is about connecting to another human. And while I may have not met them yet, they are there. And they're sitting there in their cold, dark room, scared, afraid, frustrated, feeling all kinds of friction, trying to find hope, as you said. And this video that I'm creating, that you're creating, that Jeremy's creating, it's about creating that human connection and that hope for somebody. And showing them that you're not alone, which, like, that in itself is huge. You are not alone. And then the right individuals will come forward and say, Katie, I need your help. Or, Jeremy, you changed my life, right? That video gave my family hope as we were in the hospital. And like, at the end of the day, that's what I care about the most. Like, that's why I'm here doing these things. Because I love that. And I get emotional. I've been that individual who didn't have the hope, right? And you have 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the opportunity for all of us. Jeremy, this has been just unexpected. Like, I knew it was going to be incredible. I didn't know I was going to cry.
Can I say one more thing, though?
Yes, please do.
For anyone wanting to try this, it's really hard. So I just don't want people to be discouraged. Like, if you're journaling, like, well, what's something vulnerable I want to share? The fear is higher. The stakes are bigger. And it is going to take practice to master that. And so be patient with yourself. And I already said that, but I just think that's so important, is that really, if you were saying, what is the skill set I'm trying to develop to learn how to have organic growth? I'm trying to learn how to show up vulnerably, honestly, and sincerely. And that's not easy. Like, that's the skill set you're trying to develop.
Yeah. My brother, who studied journalism at BYU, when I was first starting to do video, I was like, man, I'm terrible. This is so hard. And I reached out to him and I was like, do you have any advice? Because this is really hard. And he said, of course it's hard, Katie. You have this round black object pointed at you and it's called shooting. Of course this is intimidating. And I was like, oh, that's true, Austin. Thank you. So it's true. Like, and I think the thing that I've been telling myself and my team is we're in this for the long haul. And it's not about quick results. It genuinely is about helping people. And some of those people will come into my world. I will meet them. I'll get to help them with the next 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. Some won't, but I also want to help those individuals. And so having that kind of macro view, long-term vision.
Once you have the first 100 bad videos, let's look at those and see which are the top 20%. Let's now go make more of those. Like, that's what you do. But you have to make the 100 bad videos. Most people don't ever get to that point. They quit before then.
I want to wrap up here with this, because we've talked a lot of different things, and you keep mentioning that you're a family vlog and I'm a expert online, so it's a totally different world. But at this point, I want you to give me some specific homework that me and my team are going to go and implement, and we're going to go bring it to the Leaf strategy, which we are doing. And to add it to the Leaf strategy and see what it does to our followers, our views, our subscribers. So what is that homework that you would give to me?
I mean, what I would recommend is Think Media has a video of Alex Ramosi that's 55 minutes long, and he's up on stage at a convention that they held sharing, here's exactly what I did. And if you want what's working now for you, of someone who is an expert trying to gain trust and growing with organic growth at an insane level, I've watched it 3 or 4 times now because there's so many truth bombs in it. And he's just hitting it really hard. And so I would highly recommend doing that. And then asking, how can I implement more of what he's specifically talking about? So, I mean, that's one thing, is watch that. And then obviously I would commit to an amount of time that you're going to be posting shorts before you quit. Because, do you know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, we're going to try a month of posting 10 shorts this month. Or do you know what I mean? And see what it does, because otherwise it's easy to not do it and to quit early, because it's a hard thing to do. And so you just have to know you aren't going to see the results. And even with the Leaf strategy, really, Nate says it'll take 4 months before the exponential factor kicks in. Just remember that. And so the only way with the Leaf strategy, it's saying, hey, do this for 4 months. So I'm just saying, like, give yourself time. Like set a time where I'm going to do it for this amount of time.
Okay. Awesome. Jeremy Johnston, this has been absolutely incredible. And for people who want to go watch Jhouse Vlogs and follow you on your journey, because you have a really cool project coming up, but we didn't talk about it.
We do. We have exciting things happening with Jhouse Vlogs. And if you want to check out Jeremy Johnston, it's like this totally tiny channel where what I'm doing there is just sharing short, useful nuggets of goodness that in the making of them help me be a better person. That was what I was doing over there. So it's like, and I'm trying to not do it at all during my working day. It's just that time where I normally was wasting time, where I was watching a show or binging something. Instead, I want to make something, you know? And so that's what I'm doing over there.
Okay, so cool.
Yeah.
Jeremy, we will have links to all of that for everybody who's watching, to both of those channels in the show notes. thank you so much. This has just been so incredible. I'm excited to have you back. I'm excited to implement everything. And
I'm excited that I get to now hang out with you
Yeah.
for a little bit because I'm excited for all that I can learn from you.
And for everybody who's wondering, Jeremy does live in Puerto Rico
Yeah.
as well. We're in the same church congregation. We've become friends. That's how
Yeah.
we know each other. He just drove down from the north of the island. I'm on the south of the island.
Perfect.
What you're seeing is the ocean overlooking Palmas Del Mar in Puerto Rico
It's
from
the
my
best.
backyard. So thank you for joining us. And for everybody who's listening, this is What's Working Now.